Hi everybody, this is Leslie Ray with Delightful Tutorials by Digital Lights by Loopy Loo. I am going to share with you today a quick tutorial on how to make ATCs, artist trading cards, using these wonderful digis from Digital Delights. To begin with, I started by printing out onto cardstock the images that I wanted to color. I also printed off a background in brown to go behind one of the ping files of the accessories, the wanted poster, so that it would already be colored solid brown for me. I also printed off some about 5-inch square pieces of colored cardstock. I have some on cardstock and I also have some on vellum. I wanted to play with the different textures and stuff that you can get with using vellum, and so that's why I did that. Next, since I pre-prepared some of this so that you don't have to sit through it, I went ahead and colored with my Prismacolors the digis that I wanted to use. Notice the little guy on the right, I only colored half of him because I don't need all of him. He is going to be peeking through my wanted poster, so I only colored the part that I needed. I did use Prismacolors to color, and then I also glossed their eyes with some crystal lacquer. Next, I went ahead and cut them out and fitted them how I wanted them, and went ahead and added some brads to my wanted poster to kind of look like nails. But I got everybody cut out. You'll notice the second little roping guy, his lasso is broken. To cut out that hole in there, I just cut that out because I'm going to show you how to put some rope on there for an added texture effect. And I just kind of cut around his hand and cut a hole down by the loops of rope, and then up at the top where his lasso is lassoing, I cut right there so I could get that completely open so I could put some rope on it like I did on the little guy by the wanted poster. So that's where we are now. So what I have here are some ATCs, and these are just out of cardboard. An ATC by definition is 2.5 by 3.5. That's the size of a playing card. So if you wanted to play cards, you could. You could use playing cards and decorate them as well. I just die cut these out of some light cardboard. It's not too thick. Now, what I want to do is I want to start with my wanted poster guy, and I want to cover my background so that when I stick him on here, he has a little bit of the background showing through. And I think I want to go with this denim brown one. So what I'm going to do is just cut with my scissors. And then I'm going to put some glue. I use this Beacon 3-in-1. It's probably one of my favorite paper application glues. And I'm going to just quickly add some glue to this. And put my card on here and quickly trim around this edge. And I have a nail file standing by to sand the edges of my paper with. give it a little distressed edge, but also to anywhere where I didn't cut really precisely around my card. This will take care of that. And then I want to use a little bit of brown ink just to kind of grunge this up a little bit, give it a little distress, make it feel old Western-like. And kind of cover up some of the white edges that the cutting and sanding created. So now I have a little bit of brown around the edges of my card. Now this one is going to be really, really simple because I've already cut out my guy. And as you see here, I've also already attached rope. I'm going to show you on the next one how to attach that rope. But what we need to do is to just get him attached into his wanted poster. And I also, with my wanted poster, I'll show you that too, went ahead and attached some brads and made them look kind of distressed by tapping on them and giving them some little dings and bend ups on them. So, alright. I'm using some double stick tape on the back to attach my little cowboy. And for him, I'm going to put him through the front and attach him right there because I want his hat to kind of pop out and his rope to come out like that. And I want to add to him some little bit of foam tape. And I like this foam tape that comes in strips that you can just kind of cut into pieces because I can put it exactly where I want it, the size I want it, and I don't have to worry about cutting down pre-made square sizes because this is already, I cut it myself as I go along. Here and one piece here. I like the dimension on this, that just a little bit of foam tape gives it. I find it's easier to pick off if you have a pick you can get underneath that plastic. There we go. Okay, and now for this card, I just have to position him on there, and he is done. Cute little ATC reward poster. Okay, that's one. Now, I want to do one here with this fun little horse guy, and I have also for him a little sakura cactus for the background of him that I want to stick on there. And I want to use this vellum that I printed off. I think you can see my hand underneath it. with the little cactuses behind it, so that he's on that, like that, okay? So what I want to do is I'm going to cover my ATC with some wider double stick tape. This is some great double stick tape, and it works fabulous with vellum. I'm going to just trim it real quick here. This tape that I'm using is about 1 inch wide. And I'm just kind of covering close to that like that. And then I'm going to come in here with a skinny piece. It's about 1/2 inch wide. And now, I'm going to trim out my piece of vellum real quick here. And remove my double stick tape. There we go. And attach my piece of vellum on top. See how wonderful that is? You can't even see the tape underneath. That's fantastic. There are so many vellum tapes that they have out there, or sticky dots, or different things people recommend you use, and it's really hard to find an adhesive that works well with vellum. But this double stick tape is fantastic. Love it. And again, I'm going to sand just a little bit on the edge, just to kind of help shape that where I cut rather quickly. And again, I'm going to eat just a little smidge on there. Kind of just give it that grunged over look. There we go. And I have my horse and my sakura cactus. My cactus I just want to stick straight down in the back. And I'm going to put him up just a smidge, because I want him to be seen by my horse, my Bucky. And Bucky, I want to add a little bit of foam tape to the back of Bucky. this last little piece right here. And get these off. And now I'm going to bring him down onto my card. So he's kind of up a little bit. And now I want to add to him a giddy up. And I'm going to tear this to give kind of that distressed look. And I'm tearing it towards me so that I have the torn edge close to the words. And then I'm going to have this right here. There we go. And I want to use a little stipple brush and kind of add a little bit of color onto this white so that it's not so stark. And kind of come in on just the very tippy edges of the words giddy up. And now that I've got this like I want it, I'm going to kind of squish it up and then pull it back out. Because I want it to look roughed up. Okay? And now, giddy up, I want to glue across my little horse. And I'm just going to tack him in two places. And that's where this beacon 3-in-1 is perfect, because it will hold super quick for me on Bucky and on the vellum, so that I have another little ATC with the cactus and Bucky. It says giddy up. Love it. Okay, that's two quick ATCs. I want to do this little guy next, and the reason I want to do it is because I want to show you how to do the rope around his lasso. So let me zoom in real quick for you so you can kind of see what I'm going to do with his lasso. And what I am using is some hemp twine that's relatively thin. And for this part of his lasso, as you can see, when I cut this loose here so that I can have him have his ball of rope here, and it'd be under his hand. And then I cut this loose here so I could cut the center out, because this is just going to act as a base for my rope action. I want to start down here at the bottom with with some lacquer. And I want the precision point on the lacquer. And I'm going to start at the end here, where his end would be. And I'm going to put just a little bit of lacquer there on the end of the rope. And I'm going to hold my rope down. This will tack pretty quickly, quicker than you would think normally. And I'm just using my piercing tool to kind of hold it in place while it gets a good quick tack. Now, this is going to go under his hand, and right now I'm not going to tack that down. I'm just going to work it under his hand. And then I'm going to go around at least once or twice. To kind of give the impression of a coil of rope in his hand. And then I'm going to dot a little dot right here. And I'm holding down the rope. And now I'm going to bring the rope up across his body right here. Making sure I'm not stuck to my paper. Using the lacquer to hold the rope down. And then I'm just going to need a little bit of rope left, so I'm going to go ahead and trim right there. Now I'm going to just have it attached to the top here. And curl around this piece. When I add this to my base, I'll actually glue it down and make it form the whole lasso. Right now I'm just using the digital rope as a base. And when I colored it, I didn't even color it a rope color. I kind of colored it a little darker than a rope color because I wanted it to kind of act as a shadow. I'm having to be careful not to adhere it completely down to my piece of paper there. I wanted it to act as a shadow, just because I thought that would look interesting. There we go. So right now, here's kind of where our little rope guy is right now. Okay, so now we need a base to put him on. And I am going to give him the red cardstock base, and then add the this other background to it. So first I'm going to glue this on. And I'm just adding my beacon 3-in-1 to the back there. And quickly sand the edge. Go around the ink. Now, I want to add to it a torn piece of this horseshoe. But before I do that, I want to attach across the bottom part of the vellum. And so I'm going to stick my little piece of tape right here. And I want that to go up the side just a smidge. But I want to trim it first. So in order to facilitate trimming it, adding it to this piece of cardstock will help. And then I can add more vellum to the back side. Okay. After I trim and tear. Okay. I've got my vellum lined up along the edge here so that I can quickly trim that out. And I don't have to trim all the way up to the top because I'm going to tear here in a minute. But this will give me a good space to tear. Now, I want to just kind of tear so that he is partly on here. And underneath it, I'm going to put, I want to be a cowboy. So, I want to tear about right here. Like that. So that when I put him on here, there you go. So I want to add a little extra tape behind him. And now I'll trim off the excess tape. And again, I'm going to sand a little right there, and I'm also going to ink a little right there, just to kind of get that edge a little uniform. And the tear where it's kind of white looking right there, I want to leave that. I like the way that looks. So I'm going to leave that roughed up edge. And there There we go. Now let me get out my saying I want to be a cowboy. And that one, I want to get my little cutter out and trim it out. And I know when I made it about 1 inch. And I'm going to trim closer to this here. And I am going to just ink up the edge here. Let my roughness of it kind of go over onto the front. So he's going to be glued down, and I want to be a cowboy is going to be glued right underneath him. So I'm going to get this glob of glue right there. And now I'm going to use, instead of the 3-in-1, I'm going to go ahead and use the crystal lacquer to glue him down. Just so I have the pinpoint precision. I could have glued part of his body down with the 3-in-1, and then glued the rest of his lasso down with the Sakura crystal lacquer. But I'm trimming it off here. Where it's supposed to loop around. Now, my little cowboy has his lasso all nice and glued down. Love that. I'm going to set him aside to dry. And then my final card is going to be my cowgirl, Dixie. And for her, I'm going to do a similar style, only I'm going to use the checkered red here for the background piece. I'm just adding my glue. And I use the red checkers. I want to kind of try to make that a little straight enough, I think. Neat thing about digital papers is you can size them down to the size you want them to be. So by making these the smaller squares, I was able to make the gingham pattern on this checker be smaller than, say, if I printed it out on 12 by 12 or 8.5 by 11. And so you can get the size of your patterns and stuff to be an appropriate size for your ATCs. I'm going to do a similar technique that I just did on the cowboy one for her. Or I'm going to make him, I'm going to make this one go sideways along the edge here. Instead of halfway this way, it's going to go, instead of halfway this way, it's going to go this way. So, take off the tape. And I want to use, let's see, I want to use this red solid piece of vellum because I don't want to get carried away mixing the patterns. Although that wouldn't look too bad, I think. I think instead, though, I want to put the red over the top. So let me add that to the side here, like that. Again with the trimming. Okay, and this one I'm just going to kind of rip that way. Add a little extra piece of tape under there to hold that down. I think that might fit under there. It's just barely going to fit. So when I over here and grab that up. There we go. And go around that edge real quick. Edge it a little bit with some more ink. I love the texture that it adds, putting the red vellum on top of the, that's very, very cool. And here's our little cowgirl. And for her, I want to trim out the vellum saying, that'll be a cowgirl that I printed. And then for this, I want to turn it over and with the steel, color in the back of the word cowgirl so that it has just that little extra gray behind the word. No. So we have, I want to be a cowgirl, or go get him a cowgirl. And that can go over the top of her, like that. So let's move her down. So this goes here. And then use the wider tape here as a backing for our vellum. I'm going to trim off the edges there of the adhesive. And this was just a smidge bigger than an inch, but this will be just perfect for right here. And before I adhese that down, I want to go around the edge here with a little bit of ink. And stick that right there. Perfect. So, just very quickly, we quickly made in just a few minutes. Let's see. I'll giddy up. A little wanted. For fun and easy ATCs. I hope you enjoy them. Again, my name is Leslie Ray.